In the name of God, Creator, Regenerator, and Resurrector. Amen. The killing of Nathaniel Julius, a 16-year-old teenager with Down syndrome, and the extinction of 135 species of plant, animal, and insect every day, ends up being about 50,000 a year. Somehow these two seem and feel inextricably intertwined, and both cause my heart to spasm in unnameable anguish. The goneness, the never-to-returnness of any form of life ahead of time and because of preventable reasons should send a shockwave of unimaginable proportions through us. Obviously, we can't constantly live in an emotional state of heightened shock and devastation. We'd end up either having a nervous breakdown or in severe chronic depression. However, we can, and dare I say it, we must ask the uncomfortable, the difficult questions. Things like, have we forgotten that we are brothers and sisters to all whom God has created? Be it Nathaniel Julius, the police who allegedly shot him, the trees of the Amazon, or the Spix macaw, which is extinct in the wild. During this liturgical season of creation in the Anglican Church in Southern Africa for the month of September, maybe our gift to creation will be to feel the pain of what it means to be extinct, to never ever see something on earth again. Just a reminder, any life form should never be treated as dime a dozen. Think of your most favorite animal, bird, fish, tree, insect, plant. Now imagine that this world no longer has this most favorite of whatever you have thought of. What does this do to you? How do you feel? Well, if we think about it, every bird, every tree, every plant, every insect, every fish, every creature, and so on, every one of these is God's favorite. So I can't begin to imagine what it must be like for God when one of these is extinct and extinguished. Is part of God in a perpetual state of grief-filled broken-heartedness. And yet in the midst of this, and despite all of this, it amazes me that God still has a bias for life, even human life, the great perpetrators of destruction. And in a way, that ancient story of Noah's Ark shows us God's bias for life. It represents God's intention always to save the basic components of life and to keep on regenerating life so that this world can be created anew all the time. Unfortunately, much of humanity, commerce, industrialization seems to work in opposition to God by desecrating and destroying. And yet, if we were to take Noah's Ark as a microcosm of the earth, then you and I and all creation is still held in covenant with God as having the possibility of a future, And the sign of this future in Noah's story is a bow. Not a bow as used in Noah's time to kill life, to use as a weapon, but a rainbow, bent upwards, touching the earth and arching into the heavens, made of light, energy, air, and water. As humans, it depends where we're standing as to whether we'll see this rainbow or not. For God, though, because God is omnipresent, God can always see it, and see it from all perspectives, and faithfully honors the sustaining of life that it represents. If today the earth is the ark, who or what is the rainbow? Archbishop Emeritus Desmond Tutu calls South Africans the Rainbow Nation. So is it possible that when we appreciate, care for and sustain all species and live the truth that all life is bound with our own and with Earth's as a whole, that we as humans become God's rainbow on earth and beyond earth for the entire universe? Amen.